A very good morning to all of you. Hope all are doing good. We have already finished discussing the poem The Darkling Thrush by Thomas Hardy. I have discussed a few questions earlier, but here in this class, I'll be discussing a standard answer and what to write if you get such questions in your examination. Actually, I'll suggest all of you to go to the council's website and visit that. That is www.cisce.org. You will get there the people's analysis report that is very much important. You will get all the critics comments there, and what to write, what to be avoided, and how to be particular to all the questions. There they have vividly discussed what are the basic mistakes committed by the students and how to be to the point to each questions. So in this class, I have tried a bit to clarify all your doubts with this specimen question and the answers as well. So let us proceed. The question is, referring closely to the poem The Darkling Thrush, answer the following. Describe the bleak picture of the day as described by the poet. How does the atmosphere suddenly change? What are the poet's feelings at the end of the poem? So let us proceed discussing the answers. The first question's answer would be, in the poem The Darkling Thrush, the poet paints a desolate winter at the close of the day. The people all around had retired indoors. The area all around was as pale as ghost, and the pale sun, the awakening eye of the day, this is a metaphor, looked desolate and grey in the dregs of winter. The poet is leaning upon a coppice gate as he looks at the scene around him. The bay trees look like the strings of broken lyres. The sharp features of the landscape appear to be the corpse of dead body of the dying century. The canopy of clouds seemed to be the crypt of centuries' corpse, and the sound made by the wind seemed like the death lament. The process of birth and growth seemed to have stopped in the harsh winter. Every being on earth seemed to reflect the sense of apathy felt by the poet. Man has lost the sense of fellowship and kinship which keeps a community together. Since the world outside, by extension the spiritual, emotional and social, did not give the sense of community and warmth, man had retired indoors to seek warmth within himself. Okay. What was question number 2? How does the atmosphere suddenly change? How does the atmosphere suddenly change? The note of bleakness and greyness was abruptly broken by a joyous bird song that seemed to rise from the bleak twigs overhead. It seemed as if an aged thrush, which is described as frail, gaunt and small, with blast baffled plume, had chosen to fling its soul into the enveloping darkness as it sang in full-throated song with unlimited joy. A special note comes in with the use of the word evensong, which reminds us of the Vespers. The use of this word seems particularly meaningful when one remembers the spiritual and intellectual bleakness and insecurity felt by the thinkers of the age. The use of evensong seems an affirmation of the role of faith and religion. Since the aged thrush with blast baffled plume flings its soul upon the encircling gloom, The atmosphere seems to lighten and lose some of its bleakness. Question number 3. What are the poet's feelings at the end of the poem? The poet could not find any cause for the bird's joy and ecstasy. The surrounding gloom did not seem to provide any cause for such ecstatic song. However, the poet felt that the happy goodnight air seemed to reflect some blessed hope, which the bird knew of and which the poet was unaware. The poem seems to provide a note of optimism in the midst of all the pessimism that seemed to mark the end of the century. Although all was not right with the world, yet all was not lost. Beneath the wintry desolation, there lay the eternal pulse of germ and birth. The thrush thus symbolized the spirit of resurrection, of new life, of joy and hope that lay in store in the future. Although the knowledge of hope is only available to the bird, Hardy accepts the bird's song as a sign that there is hope for the future. Now, this is just a guideline. You can follow this, how to be very particular and proper to the question. Be very considerate with your approach. You can frame your own answers. Actually, you are given expanded liberty. You can think, you can frame, you can design your own answer the way you want. Since this is literature, there should not be any boundary of your of your thought, right? Now, certain things you have to keep in your mind, that is what is being asked to you in the question. You have to be very proper, because the examiner will be looking forward to see those key points or key words in your answer. If you miss those and if you write your answer exaggeratedly, then also you will be unable to score a good mark. But if you are very much to the point to all the questions, and even if your answer is not much long and with unnecessary points, you will be able to get the exact mark that is allotted for the question. So let us proceed to question number 2. Question number 2. The Darkling Thrush is a poem of despair and hope. Discuss. Answer. The Darkling Thrush begins with a note of despair. It is the last day of the 19th century and a bleak winter evening. The poet Thomas Hardy, leaning against the coppice gate and surveying the landscape before him. Frost has turned everything spectre grey. The sunlight is falling and the darkness thickening. The whole landscape wears a ghostly look. The trees are shorn of leaves, and their bare branches stand out sharp and gaunt against the western sky. The whole landscape before him appears to be carcass of the dead century. The cloudy sky is the roof of its burial vault, and the morning wind its funeral song. The eternal spirit of life and vitality seems to have come to a halt, and all living beings are dejected. The desolation, gloom, dreariness, lifelessness, and ghastliness of the landscape drive the poet to despair. Though the Darkling Thrush begins as a poem of despair, it ends on a note of hope. This note of hope is introduced by an old weather-bitten small thrush singing joyously from among the leafless branches. The poet does not find anything in the outward aspects of nature that might inspire the old frail bird to sing gleefully. All the earthly objects, far and near, are plunged in gloom and sadness. It seems that the bird, by the vibration of its song, bids goodbye to the world at large. The thrush is sending out, by its joyous song, a message of hope to the people caught in the cobweb of gloom and despair. It means to say that men should not lament over the gloom, dreariness, and ghastliness that cover the face of the earth. It is only a temporary phase of nature which will soon pass away, and sweetness and light will again shine on all the objects. It seems to bless them with Shelley's famous optimistic message: if winter comes, can spring be far behind? The poet guesses that the inspiration for the bird's merry note comes from some blessed hope, whereof he knew and I was unaware. I, the blessed hope is for the happy future life for the thrush itself and man. The bird is endowed with a keener vision than the poet. The poet's vision cannot scale beyond what he sees and see the future. But the poet, weighed down with the desolation and dreariness of the present world, cannot visualize the happy future ahead, the reappearances of spring and better days after winter. But the bird can perceive this happy future by instinct. This question will contain 8 marks. Now, I have given 2 specimen answers so that you can frame your own answers and you will have no difficulty. If you have any, you can write to me. And there is an assignment that is given to you. Please try to write on your own. You are given enough material and enough question answers. Hopefully, you will be able to answer. Okay, so in the next class, I'll be discussing the answer. You will match them. If any important and significant point, if you missed, then you can include that. Okay, so this much for today's class. Hope this specimen answers will be beneficial for you to frame your own answer. So till then, take care of yourself, do study well. We'll meet in the next class. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.